Hi, Mandy.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Or Mandy Eve Barnett. Am I saying that
Yes,
correct?
you are.
Okay, perfect. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for asking me to come.
It's a pleasure. I'm looking forward to getting to know you and your work and your history. And I'm going to tell you a secret, okay?
Okay.
I am absolutely in love with the UK accent.
Ah, thank you for that.
Uh, and it's something I've always found so fascinating and intriguing, and I've just been in love with it, since I can remember. So that's my
Oh my
secret I want
goodness.
to share. Yeah, so tell me a bit about that because pretty sure you mentioned Zambia and then you went to the UK.
Yeah. Well, I was actually born in a small town in Zambia a long time ago because my father was working over there um, and he was joined by my mother and inevitable happened and I appeared. Stayed there for a short while, and then went back to Wales, lived in Wales for a while, and then we went into England, lived there for quite a long time, and then 20, uh, 2007, I came to Canada. So I've lived on three continents, so I'm a bit of a muddle.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious. You stayed in England for a long period of time.
Mhm.
Who's your favorite football team?
I don't follow football. Sorry, I don't follow football. My son does, but I don't. No, I'm more into fast cars and fast motorbikes. That's my thing. So
I was not expecting that. Wow.
probably not, no, but that's my
Yeah,
thing.
probably not. Okay, who does your son support?
Sorry, I missed that.
Your son. You said your son's into football. Who's
Oh,
his favorite?
he supports Arsenal.
Arsenal. Oh no. Okay, your son and I cannot be friends.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. So I don't think he cares, but there you go.
Well, congratulations to him at least, for winning the league last season. I'm
Yeah.
a Liverpool supporter.
Oh, right. Why did you pick Liverpool?
It was actually inherited. My father was a Liverpool supporter.
Ah,
So, I grew up in a Liverpool household.
yeah. You had no choice then. Okay.
You had no choice, right? Okay, so you understand. When you're
I
born in the household, you can't exactly, grow up and say, hey, dad, I feel like supporting Manchester United.
Yeah, I think you might be put in your bedroom and locked in. Yeah.
Exactly. I'll be disowned. I'll be disowned.
So,
He's
yeah.
a hardcore supporter.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah. Well, once again, Mandy, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I'm really looking forward to it.
Mhm.
As always on the show, I love to get to know you personally. I've already gotten to know a bit about you already, which is quite
Sure.
cool.
Thank you.
And then we can move on to your book and your artistic work. So that's where we'll start. So, Mandy, you've been sorry, excuse that. It's not what was supposed to come out. You've published 11 books since 2011. You're a blogger with readers in 209 countries. You're a bestseller. You're still writing across children and adult genres. You also work in freelance writing, host a writer's circle, you judge contests, and you've been blogging since 2010. Like you are just a all in one when it comes to the book business, aren't you? So, my
Yeah.
first
Just
question.
immersed myself in that world. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, you diversified yourself, which is so important in any creative space. Myself being in the music industry as well, you need to be so diversified. So, I got to ask, like, what's the driving force behind it all? Is it passion? Is it discipline? Is it something else? Where did it all start for you?
I think it's more of a passion for me. I've always been creative, but I've found that actually creating worlds and characters and stories sort of encompasses everything that I've ever done before. So it seems to be the ultimate creative outlet for me personally. And once I got into it, I just got totally absorbed in not just story writing, but helping others, mentoring, local writers group, um, and then just connecting with the community at large. So I go to lots of events, conferences, workshops. I also present as well. So I've just found that it's my world, and I love it. I love every part of it.
And were you writing at an early age?
Not at all. I didn't start writing till I came to Canada.
Is
So
it?
yeah. Uh-huh. So although you said I've written sorry, although you said I've done
Mhm.
11 books, I actually published my 12th this year.
Wow, nice. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
So before the writing, what were you doing?
Painting, sculpture, textiles, collage, anything. I tried my hand at absolutely everything because I was obviously not realizing I was searching for that one thing that would, spark my creativity to a next level. And then when I came to Canada and happened upon a writing group, that's when I found it. So I've been catching up ever since. So that's why I'm
Yeah.
quite manic.
But this, backs up something that I always say is that you never know when. Like, there's no age link to when you're going to find the one thing
Yeah.
that truly, resonates with you and you feel deep inside, hey, this is what I want to do now for the rest of
Yeah.
my life. Like, you can go through so many different phases in life,
Mhm.
until you like, okay, this is it. And I've also been through that, at a young age, growing up, you're like, okay, like I was always passionate about music. I just never saw myself being in the business one day or being a DJ one day or being a music producer one day. Yeah, I mean, I never even think I'll be a podcaster one day, right? you know, it was never there because I was in different phases, of my life. And then eventually I settled into like, hey, okay, cool, this is where I want to be now. This is what I want to do. And this is what I am going to be doing for the rest of my life, no matter what. Will there be challenges? Yes. Will there be overwhelming situations? Yes. Will I get a whole lot of rejections? Yes. But I'm still going to wake up and do it because I'm passionate about it. And as you said earlier on, you were driven by passion, which is so like it's at the top of the list, right? Passion, you know,
Yeah.
the top of the list.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know that I'm really happy because I've got this huge circle of writing, people that I link to either if it's virtually or in person. And that has expanded my knowledge of this craft, but also having so many people that are as passionate as you are about something makes you really drive forward on it, propels you to do more, to be better. And you just have to keep learning. And I don't think there's an age limit to that. I think anyone can start something new if they're really passionate about it.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm connecting the dots here. So you moved to Canada and then you join a writers group. And now in 2026, you also host a monthly writers circle.
I do that, yes, because I'm also the secretary of the Writers Foundation of Strathcona County. So I took on hosting the monthly meetings because I just enjoy helping other writers, no matter, you know, what stage they are in their writing career. It's just,
Yeah.
I mean, some people do blog posts, some do articles, some do short stories, some do novels. And then you've got all the different genres added to that. So everybody's different. Everyone comes with a different viewpoint, a different mindset. And that's the excitement of it because everybody has their own way of doing something. There's no right or wrong way. If it works for you, do it. Don't think, oh, I should do it like so and so. Don't do that because then you lose your 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 voice and how you want to say something. So I always encourage people to, practice it, but the way you need to practice it. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, you should plan everything out from, chapter one to the end. I went, "Mm, no, I can't do that. I absolutely can't do that. So most of my work is free flow, and then I go back and edit it and revise it and tinker it out with it for a while. But it's nice to understand other people's, process. I mean, there's a couple of my books that I had to do planning because one had a timeline across 3 books and the other one had 2 time periods. And I had to make sure that the 4 characters in the time periods, you could figure out who they were from how they acted and what they did and how they thought. So, sometimes you have to plan and you should be open to that. You shouldn't say, well, that's definitely not what I'm going to do because you should never say never.
100%. I agree with you. Yeah, you and I are on the same frequency in life. Like, you need to be the first you, not the second somebody else. Like, even still now in 2026, there's just so many creators that, are comparing themselves. Could be to the next author right next to them. It could be to an
Yeah,
author that they idolized their whole life, like J.K. Rowling, for example, and I want to be her, I want to be him. When, look,
yeah.
you need to be you. You need to share your voice with the world, your own unique voice with the world.
Well, I mean,
Your legacy.
yeah, because no one can write your story the way you write it because it's based
100%.
on not only your imagination, but your life experiences. So, lots of the things that happen in my book, I can relate to because A, they've happened to me, or B, they were what I've created, from a basis of, you know, like my fantasy series is based in medieval England. Well, because I lived there and I visited a lot of places that historical houses and castles and that sort of thing. So I'd physically been to those places. So I had an idea of how to describe them, what they felt like. And it makes a difference to your story writing when you do that, that you've actually experienced something personally.
Yeah, yeah, true. So you shared the benefits of, joining a writer's group. What would you say to someone out there right now listening who's too shy to join a group to get started and they got like low self esteem, there's no confidence, they scared?
Well, I think firstly you have to research the writing groups in your area. Find out what they do because not all writing groups are the same. Some are just critique only. Some are gender, you know, um, gender specific. So it's like only romance or only horror. And some are like our group, we accept everybody and everyone because writing is writing. And then once you've found one you think you might fit into, just go and visit. You don't have to sort of put your work out there at the first meeting. Just get to know the people in the group first. You might click with one or two and think, well, okay, I feel safer now because I've been accepted. And I can talk about things without, everybody else hearing me. And then just take it gradually. I mean, the first time I went to the group, I just sat there and listened. I did nothing else. And I did that for 3 meetings. I got to know the people and then, what their stories were about and their names, but I wasn't brave enough to do anything like read anything. And then I thought, well, if I'm not reading, what's the point of me being here? So then I just thought I'll share something. And I mean, that first share, I was so nervous. I mean, my mouth was totally dry. I was shaking like a leaf. But I got through it. It was only a short piece. And then, the reaction was like, this is why I should be writing, because they loved it and they all commented and gave me feedback. And, as long as you understand that as a group should be encouraging and they should give you what we call constructive critique. They shouldn't say, well, that's trash, because that's not helping you and that's just being really mean. Because everybody's different, you know. So I hope that people will think, right, this group will help me because I'm writing this specific genre. Just go there and find out about the group and its members and go from there. I mean, you don't have to sort of dive in the deep end first thing.
Mm, mm, mm. No, thanks. Spot on. Spot on. And you're only going to know, until you try. You have to put yourself out
Yeah.
there. You have to take that jump, that leap of faith, and just put yourself out there and just hear what the audience says. The same thing when it comes to music. Like there's so many artists, that I work with that are scared to put out their first track because they're so
Mhm.
concerned about what people are going to say. But if you don't put it out there, you're never going to know.
Yeah.
So
It's true. It's true. And I mean,
yeah,
the thing is, you can't please all the people all the time.
yeah,
Some people will click with my stories, other people won't, and that's fine. I
exactly.
mean, I don't expect to have everyone say this is the greatest story, because some people think
Yeah,
I didn't get it or I didn't enjoy it. It doesn't
yeah,
matter. I'm writing for the people that do enjoy my stories.
yeah,
So other people will find other authors that they love, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, obviously, because I write in multi-genre and I read in multi-genre, obviously, I have lots of different authors that I love, and I'm not, and they're not gender specific. I mean, it can be horror, it can be crime, it can be romance, and I think everybody has their own thing, so don't think that, because 2 people didn't like it, only 1 liked it. Write for that one, because they're the one that wants you to write another book.
yeah. Find your audience. Find
Yeah.
your audience. 7 billion people in the world. Find your
Yeah.
audience. Kino's audience is not going to be Mandy's audience. Mandy's audience is not going to be Kino's audience. Find your
Exactly.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned multi-genre author.
Mm.
So from children's books to adults' books, do you find yourself naturally switching between these genres, or is there like a specific headspace that you need to be in for each genre?
Well, I actually write to the story. So if I get an idea, I start running with it. And pretty soon into the writing, you figure out the age group and the genre. Because it's how the characters grow within my head, and what they're doing and where they are and the situations they're in. So it becomes quite easy to figure out, you know, this wouldn't be, a sort of sentence I should use in a children's book, but I can use something else, something else that would be child friendly. So it just depends on the story and where the characters take me. And that's the fun for me, is that, the characters will say, this is where we're going. This is the road we're going down. And I'm thinking, I wasn't going to go there, but okay. And that's the fun of
Yeah,
it. That's the fun of writing. You get led into situations within the story that you thought, I hadn't thought of it that way, you know?
yeah, yeah. And What types of children's books have you published? Is it more educational or just a cool, fun fiction story?
Well, my first one was called Rumble's First Scare, and it's just a kid's picture book, and it came out of Halloween prompt. And I mean, you'll find in most of my books, I flip the specifications of a book. So although a lot of Halloween books are like people that are scared by the monster, what I did is I had the monster's point of view, so that he was going out on his first Halloween to learn how to scare. And it's a tiny little picture book, and the kids love it because they love Rumble. I mean, you know, he's the cutest thing on the planet. But it was a different point of view. And then my chapter book for kids is Huckleberries to the Rescue, and that's an homage to my parents because they taught us to love the natural world around us and learn about it. So I sort of put in magical sprites that look after all the animals in the forest. And each chapter, you learn about a different animal. So there is a learning aspect in that. And then the YA Clickety Click Creature on Planetoria, they are for older children, and Clickety Click is about self-acceptance and thinking that, you know, you are an individual. And then the Creature Hunt one is about 4 friends going out on an adventure and the importance of friendship. So that there are lessons in them for the kiddies, but not so that it's getting, you know, bashing them over the head with it.
Well, I'm glad that there is, educational
Mhm.
components, to your book. I mean, we're living in this era now, in this digital era where kids are now so glued to their screen, and it's not for educational purposes, right? Um, what would you say about that? Like, I know this is a bit off topic, but I
Yeah.
want to get your opinion on it.
Mm.
Like, what would you say, to parents out there that just can't get control of the situation of, hey, you know what, let me get my kids to start reading one of Mandy's books that's actually
Yeah.
going to enhance their growth
Yeah.
instead of being stuck to a phone the entire day, doom scrolling.
I mean, that, you know, I think you should try and get away from the screen as much as possible. I mean, you know, they're saying, "Oh, I'm doing a game about a rabbit." I say, "Okay, right, the phone stays at home. We're going to go and find a rabbit." Well, there are rabbits living outside in the countryside. Let's go and find them. Or let's go to a pet store if you're in a city and you can't go to the countryside. Let's go and find a physical rabbit. You're going to touch it. You're going to learn about it. You're going to smell it. You know, and that I think having that tactile part of learning is so much more important than just a flat image on a screen. And I mean, I brought my kids up so that, you know, if they want to make a mud pie out of a puddle, then sit in the puddle and do it. I'm quite happy for you to do that. It's only washing, right? And I mean, I carried my parents' love of the natural world onto my kids, so that they know, you know, all the animals, where they live, what they do, and just having nature walks. You take the dog out. We go out for a couple of hours and find spiders and bugs and rabbits and sheep and cows and whatever it happened to be. And then when you're actually faced with nature, you appreciate it more. And I think that's the loss we've got with the screens. That you've lost your link with nature, and it's so important.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. You've lost even human connection, you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
and that's bad.
And it's very sad. It's very sad.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
frightening that we've got generation that is coming up, and if they haven't got their phone with them, they don't feel well. And I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute. Yeah, that's the exact opposite of what you should be feeling, you
Mm,
know?
mm.
So it is sad, unfortunately.
Yeah. And it's a trending concern on another podcast that I co host,
Mm,
which is around mental illness. It was last week we had a guest who's a child psychiatrist, and she's actually written a book about this topic.
mm.
And, like I can sense her frustration, while the show was going on, she was throwing questions my way. At one point, it felt like I was getting interviewed, you because, she wanted my expertise, on how can she get further reach online to get this message loud and clear to educators, to schools, to government officials, to parents, because it's
Yeah,
just out of control and it's a huge concern, especially when you look at the stats and you look at the suicide rates, which is at such a young age.
yeah.
So yeah, we're all just fighting different battles for good reasons. So thank you for sharing, some advice on that as well. So Mandy, before we move on to your book, from all the genres that you do write, do you have
Mhm.
a favorite or do you just love them all?
I love the last one I'm writing. That's usually the way it goes. Because I just get absorbed in it, and then I become obsessed with that world and the expectations for that particular genre, and I do lots of reading for that genre. So I get absorbed in it totally. And I think the other thing is that I just love story. I love creating these worlds that play out as a movie in my head. Um, and I mean, my last one is a suspense coming of age, and I I hadn't done real suspense before. There's some tension in some of the other books, but not total suspense. So it was a learning curve for me, and I love challenging myself. And I think, can you do that? Well, let's see if I can do it. I'll write one. And that's
Yeah.
going back to forever learning. You have to think, right, if I can do this, it's a feather in my cap. And I just like finding something new to do. Um, that's just my personality, I think.
And Mandy, let's talk about the Commodore's gift.
Yeah.
Firstly, when was those gift released?
It's a couple of years ago now.
Couple of years.
But yeah, because let's say this, yeah, it was, I have quite a back catalogue, as you can imagine. So the Commodore's gift was one of those genres I really wanted to have a go at because I love learning new ones. And when I wrote it, steampunk was becoming like a new genre and a new sort of number one thing. And I thought, I'm going to
What?
read a few and research them.
What? Sorry. I have to stop you there because this is the first time I'm hearing of this genre. What is steampunk?
Okay. Steampunk is a combination of Victoriana and Industrial Revolution. So you have Victorian sort of etiquette and lifestyle, but it's also got industrial machines and industry within it. So it's a mishmash. And steampunk has become like a huge, um, like convention. They have huge steampunk fairs, and everyone dresses up in the most incredible costumes. They're really beautiful. And I just wanted to see if I could write one, so I did. And funny enough, it started as a different project altogether. I was on a writing retreat, and we were given the title "The Toy Maker," just as if you want to write a short story on this, you're welcome to. So I started writing this little story that became about 7,000 words. So it's not that short. And then I just put it on the back burner because I didn't know what to do with it because I couldn't find anywhere to place it. And then it's years later, when the steampunk came up, I'm thinking I could use that. And I thought my character in my short story would be the main character in the book. No. So there's another person came on saying, "This is my story. It's all about me." And that character was Owena. And Owena is a very strong, determined woman. And
Yeah.
she had a different upbringing because her mother passed. So she's brought up by her brother and her father. So her Victorian sort of life was very different to other women who were sort of told to sort of sit in the parlor and do sewing. She was outside, doing sword fighting and riding horses and doing war games with her brother's sort of army models. So she was doing strategy. So a very different sort of upbringing. So she put herself forward as the main character in the book. So I just went with her, and I've really enjoyed her because she was so much fun to write. And she's, showing the men that, you are capable as a woman. And that's a reflection of my character. Because I am strong and I am determined. And if I put my mind to something, I'm going to do it. So she's quite a reflection of me. Yeah.
Yeah. From what I gathered, it seems like Owena was a character who's both ahead of her time, but is also trapped in the expectations of her own world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
But now this also
And I mean-
reminds me of the real world that we're living in.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
except you wrote about it years ago.
Mhm. Yeah, I know. Ahead of my time, shall we say? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so,
It's-
really. But
You'd also
I mean, I
predicted.
yeah, just predicting it. Yeah, maybe so. But I mean, life is stranger than fiction and yada yada. But I just liked the idea of her, stepping forward and saying, "This story is about me." And as it happened, the toy maker story, I used elements of that story within the book. So I mean, he became sort of a secondary character that Owena was able to sort of utilize in her plan. So it came full circle in the end.
Yeah. And right in the book, was there any like historical events, non-fiction events, that you integrated into the book itself? Or was it
Not
just
really.
your imagination?
Yeah, no, it's my imagination. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I use settings that I'm familiar with because it was set in England. But I think if you go into historical fiction, you have to be very, very careful about what you're using and what you're omitting, because readers that love that genre will pick it out really quickly. So I'm not that good at, saying, right, this historical thing happened, I'm going to put it in the book. Because I
Yeah.
would rather go with my creativity and let it go that way. So I mean, yeah, I use places and in my books, but I don't go into deep historical feature on them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I've heard that before from so many authors as well, because as you just said, you are like
Yeah.
spot on once again. Like, I love history. So if I read something, and the author is saying this and this, I'll be like, no, but that's not true, you know? So now where's this coming from? And then you sort of
Yeah.
like get confused, okay. Wood story is actually correct, you know. So it's
Yes.
very
Yeah.
true. You have to be really, careful when it comes to writing anything about history these days.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, we look at, we can get that right when it comes to writing. But when you look at, false information that's just floating around on a daily basis, 24/7 online, you know, one person is saying this, the next person is saying that. You don't even know what is true or not. And I just always tell people is that you just need to do your own research, honestly. You know, you don't need to look at this one video or listen to this one interview about what that person is saying. Like, you can go on and you can actually research for yourself.
Yeah, I think you have to find an independent resource, and the internet isn't that, unfortunately. Go to your library and get a history book, and
Yeah,
then find a,
yeah, yeah,
and find a library that's in the country you're researching and ask them to send you details of what their history book says. Because every country has their own slant on history, right?
yeah,
So you might
yeah.
read something and think that's true, but then when you go to another country and read, you're thinking, hang on a minute, that's not what I learned in history lessons. So you have to be very cautious about putting something out without proper research. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. One of my life goals is to get into the Vatican archives. It's a fast
Oh
track.
wow.
It's a fast track.
Good luck. Good luck with that one.
But I'm an ambitious guy, I'm an ambitious guy. you know, wouldn't
Wow.
that be something cool? To
It
just
would,
go.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, is there anything else you want to say about the Commodore's gift? And you can also mention while we're on the book itself, where can people, can go and learn more about it, purchase it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's across all the online platforms, so you can either have a print or an ebook anyway. And I think what you will find from the actual story is that, if you have a belief in yourself, um, then do what you think you need is to do, um, and just find the people that have a similar belief, and gather them around you, and then that will help make something you know come about, even if it's something simple. I mean, we have community gardens here, so like you've got 6 or 7 neighbors come together and say, we're going to have a community garden, we're going to build the flower beds, and we're going to grow vegetables or whatever. And they tend to those gardens. And I mean, it's not a difficult thing to do if you actually put yourself out there and say, I want to do this. Go to your neighbors and say, would you be interested in this? I mean, most of them will say no because they don't garden or whatever. But you will find a community. So no matter what your, I don't want to say cause because it's the wrong word, but whatever your interest is, if you think other people might be interested, then find them. We've got this, internet thing, so you can find them quite easily. So I mean, sometimes there's a bonus to it. Sometimes.
I love how you said that. We got this internet thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so the Commodore's gift, I mean, for
Mm.
anyone listening, yeah, just go on to this internet thing and
Yeah.
put in the
So
Commodore's gift.
yeah. So I
and
mean,
I'm
the
sure.
thing is, you see, if you can see if you can see, it's like it's got the cogs, and this is Owena, and this is Galen. He's quite a huge influence on her, but he's also very supportive of her because he understands her drive, and how her personality has been created from her upbringing. And I think if you can go and find them on all the online sites. But the other thing is, if you've ever got any questions about the book, you can contact me through my website, because I love getting questions about my books. It's one of my thrills in life. And then you'll understand that the books are like an avenue for me to connect to people, and that's really why I do this.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. You mentioned the male character in the book,
Galen,
right?
yeah,
So what's the name?
Galen.
Galen.
Galen. Galen.
Galen. Okay.
Yeah,
So this is now a forbidden romance story or relationship between Owina and
and Galen. Yeah,
Galen.
yeah,
So this
yeah.
is forbidden.
Well, it's forbidden because her brother is absolutely, you're not getting involved with him, because he is a very formidable warrior and everyone's scared of him. He's a very huge physical man, very muscular. But Owina and Galen see something in common with, each other. There's a connection between them. And although, there is a romance, the basis of their relationship is mutual respect of what they can do and how they have overcome certain obstacles. So it's a relationship where they can help each other, and everybody around them is like astonished that it works. Because on the outside they look very different, but I think they have such a connection that the story of their journey and how they can overcome this evil empire gives them not just someone to lean on, but also someone that can help them make things happen.
Yeah. Well, another secret of mine is I love stories with forbidden relationships, and I think it's because I've also been in forbidden relationships in my life as well.
Oh, well, there you go then.
Put it this way, Romeo and Juliet is one of my best Shakespeare plays.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But it's not just about the love. I mean, anybody that really takes a deep dive into the philosophy behind Shakespeare's plays, there's so much more to take away from it. I'm a bit off topic again, but there is. So everybody out there, it's not just about a love story, a forbidden relationship. There's more to it, and I'm not going to share that on this show. Go find out for yourself. Okay, thank you.
I mean, so we're not all in sort of like we're not in a void, so everybody has people around them. And relationships are complicated, no matter where you are or who you are. So, yeah.
Yeah, Mandy, which relationship isn't complicated today?
They're all are. They're all are.
It's always complications. Okay, thank you so much for sharing all the information about the Commodore's gift. And I will also use the internet thing. I'm never letting that go, That's a highlight for my week, you know. And I will also share, any links that I feel will be easier for listeners to go find out about the Commodore's gift. So,
Perfect.
you are working on another project, a new book that's going to be released. Do you want to show a picture of the book and tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, This one is coming out in September. It's called The Giving Thief, which in itself is an oxymoron. Yeah, but anyway. And it's about a young man who there's an incident that happens, and his reaction to that incident propels him into doing something that changes his life in a remarkable way. And the book itself was the result of 3 true news stories that I read years ago that they just stuck in my head because I thought, is this true? So then I had to research them, but they were all true. And I just thought, how can I make these into a story? There must be a way. So then I was sort of digging deep, thinking, I'm going to use part of these news stories in a book. And my character Ryder just started to develop. And I mean, he's a youth that was bullied all the way through his school years. So he's very insular. He stays at home with his mum. He plays games on the computer because he has no friends outside anywhere. So he's very lonely. And he tries desperately not to be noticed by people, which is really sad. But this incident happens, and he decides that the only way to resolve the problem is to run away. When he runs away, things happen to him that change him dramatically. And I enjoyed it because there was such a character development all the way through. And it didn't just affect him, it affected everyone around him. So his mother and his brother, people that he used to work with. And the community itself is changing dramatically while he's away, in ways that he didn't realize. So I just enjoyed having this character centralized narrative, and I found it quite fun to make sure that these true stories were put in the book in some way.
Yeah. Sounds like a really deep story. Stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is there anything like in your personal life or what you've seen in the world that inspired writing this book? Except
For this,
a lot of lonely
yeah,
people.
there are a lot of lonely people, unfortunately. But the thing is, you can be lonely in a crowded room, and that's what I was trying to show, that being alone isn't the same as being lonely, and that people can be lonely surrounded by other people. And it comes back to human connection, that you have to think, I have to be open to someone saying hello, can I sit down and chat with you? And that's why I love the writing community, because we've got just one commonality, which is the writing, and we're all totally different. But that commonality gives you a leaping off point to have a discussion. And I think most people need to realize that something, in what you think is insignificant can be a connection to another person. And once you use that in your day-to-day life, then it will get better.
Amen. Well said. Well said. Well said. Yeah. So when will the book? You said the book will be released in September. What date in September?
On the
And
5th.
then will it be available on pre-order, or it'll just be released and this is where you go. So
Yeah, the public launch is on the 5th of September, but it's also already on some of the online platforms, so you can go and get it now. But I like to do a physical book launch because then I meet people and then I can discuss the book, and they can ask me questions, and it's much more fun. And then they get a signed copy, which is more it's special.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, big ups to you, for still doing in-person events. It's still so important in this industry.
yeah,
It's not just about, what's going on online, like, or coming onto a podcast or onto a radio show. Being in person, is so critical. It's so
yeah,
critical. I know, like, over the last few years, and I'm not just going to link it to COVID, the
mm,
trend sort of started before that. If you have to ask me, you know, in-person events like died off a bit, but now you see it coming back, you
yeah,
know. Look at look at what's happening with the music industry as well. Music stores were closing down because people
yeah,
wasn't buying any physical CDs anymore. It was all about streaming, but now it's coming back,
yeah,
buying physical CDs and actually owning that and saying, yes, this is
yeah,
mine. It's becoming a trend
yes,
again, and a trend that's
yeah,
going into the millions now. And I
mm,
love it. I love it.
yeah.
You know, I
That
love
comes
that.
back to the
Like,
yeah, that comes back to being like it's something tactile. Yes, you can listen to it on stream, but then you have to go and find it again. When you've got a physical CD or a physical vinyl, you can touch it. You can savor it. You can put it in a favored place, whatever. Um,
mm,
and it's same with a paperback. I mean, I only read paperbacks. And it's actually physically having the weight and the texture and the smell of the book that
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
enhances the the reading of a story. Um, so yeah, people say, well, you must have some sort of device when you go on holiday for your reading. I said, no, I'll take the books with me. Well, doesn't that make your case heavy? Yeah, I don't care. I just, I'd rather put 3 books in and take the shoes out than not have the books. So I take the
yeah,
books. And then, if I've read something and someone I'm staying with said, I really liked some of the things you told me about the book. And I said, well, you can have it then. Because I always come back
yeah.
with more books than I went with, strangely enough.
Yeah. Now I want to add books, to your list, owning a physical CD, vinyl, and a book.
Yeah.
I'm the same. Like, I love when I'm reading, I want to be holding a book. Like, I
Hmm.
tried Kindle. To be honest, I tried. I gave it a shot. I still got books in my Kindle that I haven't even like
Yeah.
started reading. And there's a few that I've gone like halfway through. And these are good books, but I just
Mm.
can't. I
Yeah.
can't finish this book.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. And it is quite difficult. And maybe, there also needs to be like advocates, with Amazon, for example, to say, hey guys, can we bring like the shipping costs like down, little bit,
A
little
little
bit.
bit.
So
Yeah.
people in South Africa or wherever, can
Sure.
order our books and don't have
Yeah.
to pay, get a whole new mortgage just to get the book to them.
Oh,
know?
God.
So,
Well, I mean, I
yeah.
go on a lot of road trips with my friend, and wherever we go, if there's a bookstore, it's like an immediate halt. Go in the bookstore, browse for an hour, come back with a handful of
Yeah.
books, probably. And then I've got other friends, and we swap books. So I've read all of these, you can have them, or you've got a local bookstore that takes secondhand books and say, I've got this box of books, you can have them. And I think
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I've got several bookcases and they're full, but I don't keep every single book. I keep books that resonated with me or favorite authors, or they're from authors I've met and they've signed them. So I keep books that are special for whatever reason, and the others I send them back out into the world for someone else to enjoy.
Yeah. 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 Nice. Very nice. I'm also a collector, and there's a local charity secondhand shop, that's really close to where I stay. And nine not 90, 85% of all the books that I have, in my studio, which you can't see right now. And then, of
Right.
course, that end of the studio as well, because it extends that way. I
Uh-huh.
haven't even touched yet. So I'm surrounded by a whole lot of books that I haven't touched yet. But I got more books that I can read presently right now in my life. But I know that I
Mhm.
will get there. And
Yeah.
the thing is, I walk into the store each and every single day, and I come across these high quality books, whether it be fiction or nonfiction, and you get it for really cheap and it's in good condition. So I just collect, 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 and I store it. And I know I'm going to get there one day, because I mean, if I'm going, like, if I really had to work it out now for you, like in dollars, right? I mean, if I walk into the store, I can get a book that's probably worth $50, if I had to buy it like brand new. And then I come across like a secondhand version of the book, which is in a good condition, for like $1,
Sure.
you know?
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So, like, okay, cool. One
Wow.
man's trash is another man's treasure. Here comes Kino, picked up, gone. And yeah. And then, of course, there's specific books I come across. I'm like, okay, and I really need to read this. Then I will look, okay,
Mhm.
where's the best book place to actually, get it. You get it from there. So, yeah, that's me. Yeah. But I don't think I'm like on your way of like exchanging books. I'm like very sentimental about that, you know. So like if
Yeah.
I collect something, like even here behind me in the shelves, these are like my collectibles, and like
Yeah.
it's gold to me. There's certain things that
Sure.
are like gold to me.
Yeah.
But luckily, at least in my community or the people I'm surrounded by, they don't like to read that much. So I don't have people knocking on my door. Hey, can I borrow a book?
Yes. I mean, I think if something's special to you, you should keep it. But if you just thought
Yeah.
someone else that you know would really enjoy it, then let them have it. I mean, sometimes I've loaned books and said, I really like it back, and I get it back. There was only one book that I read, years ago, not decades ago, and I loved the book, and I loaned it and I never got it back. And now I can't remember. I can remember the story, can't remember the title. So I'm never going to find it, which I'm so sad about. And it's like, I really loved that book and I haven't got it anywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm very
Now
careful who
you
I loan books to.
Yeah. Well, look, you're putting it out into the universe. Maybe it'll find its way back to you, you know, in the weirdest way possible.
Maybe. I mean, I read it in England. I don't know if I'll find it in Canada, to be honest with you, but you never know.
Yeah. You just never know. You never know. That's the magic of the universe.
Yeah.
So, Mandy, to conclude, you have had an incredible creative career, right? Once again, 11 books published, freelance projects, a blog that is worldwide.
Yeah.
If you have to go back to your younger self, what's one piece of advice that you would give yourself about the creative life?
To keep searching, to keep trying, to keep learning, um, and just find that one thing that grips your passion, um, and grab it with both hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, short, sweet, simple, and powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And Mandy, so where can people find you online? You can mention your website. Are you on social
Mhm.
media?
So I have my website, www mandyevebarnett.com. Really easy, it's my name. And that tag is on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Pinterest. Yeah, Pinterest is Wordsmith, but you'll still find me. So I'm all over the place. I'm sure you'll find me. Just put that name in.
I will find you. I will personally definitely find you. And I will give you a follow.
Okay, thank you.
Get what I am going to do. Mandy, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. It's been insightful, educational, fun, laughing moments. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's been a joy.
Yes, yes, it has. And the show will be uploaded between next week, Monday and Tuesday. And I will send you and Mickey the link.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Mandy. Until we meet again.